What's up YouTube, Saf here on Super Saf TV, and in this video I'm going to be comparing the specs of the Samsung Galaxy S4 to the Samsung Galaxy S3. Now the S3 was the most popular Android smartphone of 2012. There's been a lot of excitement about the S4, and the question I've been asking myself is it worth me upgrading from my S3 to the S4? And I'm sure that's a question that a lot of people out there will be thinking about as well. So I thought, in my usual style, let me do a head-to-head comparison between these two devices and give you guys a better idea in terms of the key differences of spec. So let's start off with the size. Now the S4 is very impressive. It's actually smaller in terms of width and also thinner than the S3. And despite that, the S4 actually has a larger screen. It's just shy of 5 inches, 4.99 inches, whereas the S3 had a 4.8 inch screen. So they've really decreased the size of the bevel around the device of the S4, and they've got a larger screen in the same amount of space. So I know there's a lot of people who thought the S3 was slightly big, and after we heard about the fact that it's going to have a 5-inch screen from rumors, we thought it's going to be a bigger device, but no, they've actually maintained that same size, which is very impressive. Now in terms of resolution, the S3 had a 720p display, so 1280 by 720 pixels. The S4 has a full 1080p display, 1920 by 1080, so you're going to get that full HD resolution. Videos are going to look absolutely great. You can get pixel for pixel on a full HD videos. Pixels per inch in terms of PPI, pixel density, 441 PPI on the S4. The S3, 306 PPI. So obviously you've got much higher pixel density on the S4 as well. So pictures and text are generally going to look more clearer or more crisp on the S4. In terms of weight, the S4 130 grams, the S3 133 grams. So the S4 is also lighter than the S3 despite having a high resolution screen as well. Now in terms of build and design, obviously this is something that a lot of people will be disappointed about. I'm also disappointed about, is that the S4 looks pretty much the same as the S3. I was hoping for something different, but I think Samsung have gone with the if it's not broke, let's not fix it sort of Apple sort of mentality. I'm not too happy about it. I was expecting something looking a bit different, but then again, you know, they've kept that same design. They've kept it quite clean and simple. Now the S3 was obviously built with plastic, now obviously a premium plastic, but a lot of people were disappointed about that. It didn't have that premium feel. Now the S4, they're saying it's a polycarbonate casing, which is much stronger and more durable than the S3, but still, like from what I'm reading online, it is still, you know, not as premium feeling such than other devices such as the HTC One. So now that's another thing to bear in mind. Now in terms of the processor, the S4, I believe it's the international version, is going to have an Exynos 5 Octa Processor. Now that's going to have 8 cores. 4 of the cores 1.6 gigahertz Cortex A15, and the other 4 cores are going to be 1.2 gigahertz Cortex A7. So basically you've got 4 large cores and 4 smaller cores. Now the 4 larger cores are going to kick in for some heavy, gaming and things, but the 4 smaller cores are going to be for general use, and hopefully this should be better for the battery as well. So this is very impressive. In terms of the other version, there's going to be a 1.9 gigahertz Crate version, apparently quad core. Now again, this is not too sure about this, but the general international version is going to have that Octa Exynos 5 processor, which is very impressive. The S3 quad core 1.4 gigahertz Cortex A9. Now this obviously is going to be a key advantage of the S4. It's going to be much faster. Obviously benchmarks will tell us exactly how fast, but you've got those 8 cores on there, which is very impressive. In terms of internal memory, both the S3 and the S4 have the 16, 32 and 64 gigabyte variants. In terms of expandable memory, now this is something that the Samsung devices have, which a lot of the other devices don't have, is up to 64 gigabytes expandable storage with micro SD, which is again very impressive. RAM, the S4 has 2 gigabytes of RAM as standard. The S3 had 1 gigabyte of RAM for the international version, and there also was a 2 gigabyte version as well, but the S4 will have 2 gigabytes across the board. Camera, now the S4, the 13 megapixel camera. The S3 had an 8 megapixel camera, so obviously the S4 has a much larger sensor in terms of the megapixels, so you're going to have a higher megapixel count, a larger image on there. Some of the features that they mentioned, you've got dual camera, so you know when you're taking a picture or a video, you can have the person taking the picture sort of like a block, a square pasted on there. Now I think that's quite useful video. I'm not sure I'd use it so much for pictures. You've also got drama shot. Now this is similar to HTC Zoe, where it's going to take multiple pictures and let you select one later on. And you've also got an eraser feature which lets you erase out things in pictures. Now I'd like to see this in action, but you know, that's another cool feature in there. They've also got pictures with sound. Yeah, pictures with sound. I personally don't get that, because why not just shoot a video instead? But anyway, they were quite going on about it on the event quite a bit, pictures with sound. But anyway, in terms of video, 1080p at 30 frames a second, both of these devices will support. Front-facing camera, the S4 has a 2 megapixel front-facing camera. The S3 has a 1.9 megapixel front-facing camera. However, the S4 is going to allow you to film 1080p HD at 30 frames a second. The S3 only had 720p. Now, personally for me, this was quite annoying, because you know when you're switching from your front to the back of the camera when you're recording, when it comes to editing, you know, you have to sort of scale down your 1080p footage. So obviously this is going to be very beneficial that you've got 1080 on both sides here. Operating system, the S3 Android 4.1.2 is what it's on currently. That's what mine is on right now, Jelly Bean. The S4 is going to come with 4.2.2, so the latest version of Android Jelly Bean. And obviously both of these devices come with the TouchWiz UI from Samsung. I quite like it. The skin on the Android, I really like it. I like the additional features. Some of the more additional features that they've got on the S4, they've got a smart scroll, which is going to track your eyes and scroll automatically, or if you tilt the device, it's going to scroll it as well. And you've got smart pause, which if you look away from the device, if you're watching a video for instance, it will pause the video. Again, another interesting feature. You've got S Translator as well, so that's going to do live translation from speech to text and text to speech as well. Again, it'll be interesting to see that in action. And you've also got air gestures, which is very, very, very nice, because you can sort of hover over the device without actually, you know, pressing it to get some like expandable menus, etc. Now this is similar to the Note devices, the Note 2 I believe, where you know you can use that with a pen, just sort of hover over. So that's another interesting feature. Will these features be coming onto the S3? Now obviously things like the smart scroll and smart pause, I believe they will be coming soon, but things like the air gestures, obviously you're going to need the additional sensors for that, so I don't think that they will be getting those on the S3. Battery, the S4 has a lithium ion 2600 milliamp battery. The S3 has a 2100 milliamp battery, so obviously you've got a larger battery on the S4. It's got a larger resolution, so it's going to be pushing out more pixels. So you know, I'm not sure in terms of the battery, you're obviously going to be needing a little bit more power, but then again you've got the Octa Processor, which is going to be switching between the smaller cores and the larger cores. So again, it's going to be interesting to see what sort of usage. The S3, I've been pretty impressed with the battery usage on there. I usually get a day's out of general use out of the device without any problems. So I'm hoping that the S4 will be similar, if not better. Price, the S3 currently you can pick it up for about £350–400, or you're looking at around about $500. The S4, they've not given official prices, but 16GB version you're going to be looking at around about £500, maybe, you know, between £500 to £550, or around the $700 mark as well. This is SIM free for the handset only. No doubt that the S3 will start dropping even more in terms of price after the release of the S4, because the S4 is now the new device that a lot more people are going to be going for. But those are the key differences of spec between these two devices. Is it worth upgrading? Well, personally, I won't be upgrading my S3 to the S4 anytime soon, because the S3 is still a great phone, and although the S4 does have a lot of new cool features, I don't think it's worth a full upgrade from the S3. I mean, if I was starting from scratch and getting a new device altogether, then maybe I'd go for the S4 instead of the S3. But considering that I've actually got the S3 right now, I personally don't think it's worth the upgrade. That's what I think anyway. What do you think? Would you go for the S4 if you've got the S3? And what do you think of the S4 in general? Do drop me a comment below and let me know your thoughts. And obviously, if we do get the handset through in our usual style, we'll have a full hands-on review. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. If you did, please do hit that thumbs up button. It really does help me out. And why not subscribe to this channel? I've got plenty more videos coming up on here. Thank you for watching. This is Saf on Super Saf TV, and I'll see you next time.